What's going on, guys? So I've been installing this nitrous on my bike, and I have this mini controller that a lot of guys use. I've been slowly trying to figure it out. I just got it all wired up today. I think I have a pretty good understanding of how it works, and I'd like to give you a little rundown in case you have to do one of these to a bike. I was trying to figure it out looking at it on YouTube, as well as reading the instructions, and there's not a lot of people on YouTube that really explain how one of these is hooked up on a motorcycle. I saw one that was pretty vague, but I'm going to give you a better breakdown right now. So obviously, you got to hook up the fogger inside and hook up your solenoid and come up with some way to position everything. However you want to do that, that's up to you. So you got 4 main big wires right here. This is your second stage of nitrous. This is a ground wire. This is your first stage, and this is the one that goes up to your controller that programs this, which I'll show you how to do that in a minute. So like I said, I'm running one stage. I don't even worry about that wire. That one, I run back to ground. This one plugs into one of the wires that is on your solenoid down there. So the blue wire right to your solenoid. Now, the other wire on your solenoid is going to come up to power. So you got 2 wires on your ground over here. This big one, and then coming out of here, there's a little black wire. See that little black wire right there? That little black wire runs up to ground. So on this whole system, there's only 2 ground wires. The big one right here, and then the little black one coming out of here. Then you got 1 power wire that goes to your solenoid. Now, the second power wire runs up to your activation switch, and then it runs back to the white wire. This white wire right there. All right? Now, there's only 2 more wires on here that you need to worry about if you're running one stage. That is the white wire with the blue stripe, which goes to your throttle position sensor. If you don't know which wire that is, you can back probe. There's only 4 wires on this ZX10. You back probe it, you turn the bike on, you don't have to have it running, and you twist the throttle with your voltmeter hooked up, and you'll see it's the only wire that's going to lift in voltage as you twist the throttle. Tap into that wire. Now, the next wire, this is where I made a mistake. The next wire is your green wire. It's green wire right in there. That green wire is your RPMs, because this can be triggered off of 2 actuators. Your throttle position, which I have mine going to be set at 90%, and then your RPM. You can also not only have it come on at a certain RPM, but also if your bike, you don't want it to over rev with the nitrous on, so you can cut it out around 14 or wherever your bike starts to red line at. You don't want the nitrous spraying at where your bike's over revving. So you can have it set on both of those parameters. So even though you're wide open, if your RPMs are not yet at the specified RPM range, like you say you would have it at, let's say you have it coming on at 9,000 RPMs. If you're wide open at 7, until the bike hits 9, it's not going to come on. So the green wire, back to the green wire. The green wire, I was trying to hook it up down here to my crank position sensor on my ground wire there on my signal wire. I was getting very high RPM readings, and I couldn't figure out why. That's because that is going off of 1 and 4 and 2 and 3, so it's sending twice the amount of signals to my RPM tack up here, which is not good, because then I can't set any RPM parameters with that. So I read the instructions, which is probably what I should have done a little better before I just, started doing YouTube videos. When you have coils that are on top of your spark plugs, coil per cylinder is what it's called, which you'll see when I turn this on, and you go through here and you set up how you have your tack set up for your tack signal. You want to go to your ground wire on one of your coils. So you want to tap into just one of those ground wires on your coil. As soon as I did that, I'm getting accurate RPM readings. So, like I said, you come right here, you turn that on, and then there you go. You got stage 1, stage 2, and then all you got to do is, yep, there we go. So you got right here, you can go to nitrous configuration. This thing is kind of, my bracket's not the strongest, so I've got to kind of hold it. There you go. System setup. And you got RPM signal, coil per cylinder. But if you open that up, you'll see it's got all these different types. You don't want none of that. If you got coil per cylinder, it's not going to work correctly. Or save coil per cylinder. So you go back, Stage 1, setup. It's enabled. Right now I got the activation RPM set low because I was trying to make sure that I was just twisting my throttle and seeing if it would come on. Like down, if you remember the stage 1 right down there in the corner, it will turn green when your solenoid comes on. The only problem I'm having is this is mechanical, 10% mechanical and 90% electronical fly-by-wire throttle. So what's happening is when I'm twisting this, you know, I'm getting voltage, but it's only going up to like 1.3, where it's supposed to go up to like 2.5. That would trigger wide open throttle, but that's only going to happen when the bike is running, because this thing's telling it to open, but since the bike isn't running, those flaps aren't opening, so the voltage isn't going higher. So the only way for me to test it is while the bike is running. So like I said, you can set it, you know, right here where you want it to activate, when you want it to come off. Your ramp builder's right there. You can go through here and set it up. You have delay time, ramp time. You can start it at a different percentage. You can start it at like a 20% and then end it 100%. Yeah, and then your TPS right here, like I was saying. So I twist my throttle while the bike's not on. If I turn the bike on, see there, you got 6 volts. I twist the throttle, it goes up to 1.3, but it needs to go up, you know, higher than that to trigger it. So in order for that to happen, I would have to have the bike running, which I'll go do a little roll here in a minute and make sure everything's good. But I like this system. It's pretty cool. I haven't had any trouble with it so far. And hold on one second. So that's pretty much it. I got a street tire to throw on it for the dyno so I don't destroy that one. I got a 25-pound bottle to use for the tuner. And then I'm going to be running C16. And we're going to do like 3 gallons of 93. And then like a gallon of C16, which is like a 75-25 ratio. And it's going to be a 50 shot or a 48 shot. So I got to get with the tuner now. And we've been talking about spark plugs. I see a lot of guys saying you got to go to the copper spark plugs. I got another buddy who just went up to Johnny Turbo and he tuned his bike with a 36 shot, and they left the uranium plugs in there, iridium plugs. These iridium plugs have a copper core, so I don't see what the issue is. Maybe when you start going up real high nitrous, but I think for a 50 shot, I don't think we're going to have any problems. So pretty much right now, all I got to do is, I don't know if I'll do it before I go to the dyno or after. It just depends on how much time I have this weekend, but I got to put this big swing arm back on because we're trying to go fast. We ain't trying to wheelie. We're trying to get low 8-second runs out of this thing. So stay tuned, guys. I'll go to the dyno. I'll get some numbers. I'll make some videos of all that. And any more information that I have on the nitrous setup, I'll let you know. But that's pretty much it. It's not that hard to do. It looked a little bit, a little like it was a little much in the beginning, but you know, you just read through these instructions here, and they have a really nice, where is it at? Wiring schematic right here that pretty much shows you everything that you need, talking about all those wires and all that, and I'm pretty sure you can figure it out if you got a couple brain cells in there. God bless, guys. Have a good day.